Good evening, guys. Hi, how are you? Back again, another live stream. Um, yeah, I should have really probably done one yesterday, the other night, but I was quite busy. Other stuff I had going on. But again, it is all about Danny Boy, Mr. Wootton. Um, this story is gonna this is eclipsed. The Hugh Edwards story, and and I don't know if it is going to be going away anytime yet. And so I was going to talk a bit more about that. I was going to get into the stuff from that the Byline Times had reported on, and that was yesterday. So this is the second part of their 3-year investigation, and the title was that Dan Wooten was a serial bully at the Sun, but bosses still they still promoted him as complaints were silenced. So I was going to get into a little bit of that, and then some of the other stuff that I've heard about all this stuff, with with Byline Times, and then you got Dan Wooten now saying he's going to sue Byline Times, and yeah, there's the boy, Cara. Even how you doing? You all right? I'm always here. You can always count on me. Just when you think I'm gone, I've fallen off the radar, I'm back. But I'm gonna see how it is tonight then, to because I will post a couple links on Twitter and then just see how we get for numbers. Internet's playing up. Yeah, yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Uh, how you find the summer overall, Cara? You been up to much, or I think we're going to get back to kind of like not so great weather. Well, not here, well, up north here. It's been a little bit more rain, but I think when you're talking down Edinburgh, Glasgow, they're quite lucky they're getting a bit of sun. But um, so I'm just gonna post a link. Maybe get some numbers, bring in some new people into the chat. So just 1 minute, I'll just get this link up. I, do, 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 do. Astral, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while, mate. Potterton Farm. All right. So the Potterton Farm, that's up my way, is it, Cara? Good stuff, Astral. I thought something. I thought I was missing. Certain people, the names just stand out. But I could. You're still you're a loyal. You're a loyal person though. To here to this. Yeah, outskirts. Yeah, aye. The name did ring a bell. Like aye, but so we'll see. So aye, maybe no, that's not Stonehaven, is it? Maybe not that far out. But it's Aberdeenshire though. Aye, aye. Uh, so yeah, so with this stuff with Dan Wootton, this is the stuff I probably should have done a live stream on this yesterday, but I was just so kind of depleted of bloody life force. Didn't really have the energy to do barely anything. But then there was other shit going on too. But I should have really just zoned in and took the time to focus on this stuff here. No, I never can. I never do. And so you know me, Astral. I was talking a lot about the Philip Schofield stuff, but I'm gonna get. I've been getting into the Dan Wootton stuff as well. I don't buy into this idea that all the allegations about him are some kind of left wing conspiracy theory. But to get into the stuff with Dan Wootton, though, so it says that Dan Wootton was subject of at least 6 bullying claims from colleagues while working for the Sun, but was promoted by the newspaper as complainants were silenced with large payoffs and non-disclosure agreements. Byline Times can reveal. The allegations against the journalist, today a star presenter for GBUs and columnist for Mail Online, range from constructive dismissal to age discrimination, while several witnesses have also described a culture of sexual harassment under Wootton. So I was just thinking of stuff here reading this. I mean, they can reveal now. They must know, right? They have reliable sources. So Byline Times, they've said that people have been silenced with large payoffs, non-disclosure agreements, and then you've also had the Guardian come out saying they've been in contact with people who either they were still at the Sun when they used to work with Dan Wootton, or they're no longer with the Sun, but they had worked with Dan Wootton. And there's all these. They've all said that bullying went on. Damning allegations, absolutely. But I don't know how this is going to work. How exactly is Dan Wootton going to be able to successfully sue the Byline Times? This can be all backed up that large payoffs were done, non-disclosure agreements. Byline Times are no way going to pluck this shit out of thin air. They're no longer going to make this. They're not going to. And you know what? They're going to have. These guys will have. They're going to have needed. They will need proof, right? They're not just going to post on on their website. Large payoffs and non-disclosure agreements were done if there wasn't legitimate proof of that happening. They wouldn't do that. Okay, it's not. They're independent journalists. It's not the big mainstream guys like your Daily Mails and your Guardians or Telegraphs, whatever. But they're not dumb enough to post that stuff without proof. They wouldn't do that. They would have to be real dumb, to do something like that. But so they get into it. Yes. So it says it follows this newspaper's revelations on Monday that Wootton used the online persuadiums. Did I say that right? Martin Branning and Maria Joseph, among others, to trick and bribe scores of men into revealing compromising sexual material for tax-free sums of money up to 30 grand. Representatives of Wootton have been asked by this newspaper to confirm or deny whether the presenter was or is connected to Branning, which is funny because I did see a tweet by the Byline Times Twitter earlier saying that they had asked Dan Wootton's lawyer about 50 questions and the lawyer refused to answer any of them. But it comes out, it says, so neither Wootton in his GBU statement on Tuesday nor his representative have clarified this point. Yeah, exactly. It was very vague and vague on purpose. And I mean, Dan made it a point to deny all the criminal stuff, but then Dan, again, is probably smart to say it's criminal aspect, of criminal allegations. But then obviously bullying, harassment, that's workplace stuff. That's not obviously criminal. So he was obviously very slick on how he worded this, but still it's going to be, well, I say it's going to be tough for him to get out of this because, and again, though, if Dan has got, friends in high places, then he could, that can go a long way. Let's not kid ourselves, But it says, though, that Byline Times has now spoken to multiple former editorial and support staff at Britain's biggest tabloid, many of whom are fearful of being identified after experiences working at Murdoch-owned News UK, with one left suicidal, another suffering stress-induced hair loss, others deserting the industry. For that reason, we are protecting their identities, although they're known to their former employer, which last night, in a response to a request for comments sent by Byline Times, they contacted all staff at the Sun, announcing that it was looking into our allegations urgently. So at least they seem to be doing something, the Sun, well, on the surface anyway. Among questions to the publisher, Byline Times asked it to confirm the earliest date of any record held digitally or in analog format containing the names Martin Branning and Maria Joseph. Surprise, surprise, Use UK declined to respond, but did not deny that all 6 individuals received severance payments. They didn't deny this, contingent on the signing of binding, restrictive, covenant, or non-disclosure agreements. The cost of the legal proceedings and settlement is estimated to be more than 1 million. £1 million for settlements and the legal proceedings. Gee. Its internal email to staff said various allegations have emerged and reported over the last few days in relation to Dan Wootton, who many of you know will have worked for The Sun between 2013 and 2021. All matters reported are obviously very serious and include allegations that certain actions of Mr. Wootton may have affected some members of staff at The Sun. We are looking into these allegations urgently and wish to hear from staff who may have been impacted or have relevant information. So, wow, there's a lot more to go into this, but there you go. There's some of it right there. And so we get to the next part, and there's a headline part here. You're either with him or against him. As part of a 3-year special investigation into 40-year-old Wootton, details of which we'll continue to publish over the coming days and weeks, Byline Times is today examining his professional conduct while employed at The Sun. While Use UK last night urged potential complainants to go to The Sun's corporate affairs team if contacted by external media for comment, this newspaper is taking care not to reveal the sexes or job titles of the 6 people, whom it is understood are not the only ones who feel they were bullied or harassed by Wootton. In one of the cases, a very senior member of the Sun team, this is where it gets real strong and real serious here, a very senior member of the Sun team took a kitchen knife to a meeting with a former editor of the newspaper with the intention of slitting their own wrists in front of the executive. Wow. And the executive who had sided with Wootton in a dispute ultimately settled for a 6-figure sum. The Sun made the payout at the 11th hour at the steps of an employment tribunal in 2018, at which emails from Wootton disclosed to the employees' lawyers would have entered the public record and led to judicial findings of fact. Former staff have told Byline Times investigators how Wootton continually tried to make people admit they were bisexual or gay. He challenged people on their sexual orientation all the time. And this is maybe something that Dan will try and wriggle his way out of and claim it was like work banter or what have you. But anyway, several sources have spoken of the sexual harassment of male colleagues, while at least 2 female colleagues were reduced to tears daily by his conduct. And if we remember, we had the guy Julio Cast was on here, and he was a junior member, junior member. And Dan, he reported to Dan, and Dan told him, "You only speak when you're spoken to." That was like a standard line of his, like his catchphrase. It's all a bit sus. Yeah, Astro, I can see that. I can see where you're coming from in some respects. There was the Kev Sutherland allegation, and no one's really saying anything about that anymore. It's more to do specifically kind of like with the bullying, catfishing, blackmailing. A lot of people are actually kind of like saying, well, he's not very credible, because he was a guy by his own admission was convicted for extortion. So a lot of people are saying that this guy is just basically a fraud. He goes by another name. Kev Sullivan's not his real name. His name's actually William Watson or something. So I don't know. Some allegations could be true, credible. Others maybe not. And it goes on. So it says, naming 3 particular targets of very inappropriate behavior. They said he sexually harassed these male colleagues all the time. One would come in and Dan would often comment on the way he looked and goad him and saying, "Are you sure you want to be married? We all know you're gay." And he might turn this into like, oh, he'll just say it's workplace banter and blah, blah, blah. He was pressurizing them to turn gay and acting like it was a joke, but people, men, women, everyone who heard were visibly uncomfortable, especially as it was coming from a boss. A different source said you were either with him or against him. If you were against him, he would make your life a misery, and if you were with him, he would treat you as a slave. He'd demand people run errands for him, get him food or drinks, do his dry cleaning. Wonder if he ever asked Julie Cast to do any of that. It was so demeaning, but it amused him. If you wanted to stay in your job, there was no choice but to endure. Byline Times can reveal how another complainant started losing their hair with stress, Jay, after working closely with Wootton, whose conduct as the Sun's executive editor was characterized as being one who considered himself untouchable. He made you feel helpless. Another News UK staffer was marched from the company's headquarters after being undermined and constructively dismissed for months and months by Wootton before standing up to him with a complaint to the paper's then editor. The staffer said it was ridiculously stressful. He was constantly condescending and sarcastic. Diaries of his behavior were kept, the things he was doing. As the boss, he had control over the company payment system. He would sabotage other journalists. He would go into the payment system and find out the names of contacts. He would then get in touch with them himself and make them deal with him directly. So no doubt he was a bit of a control freak, huh? It was impossible to do your job. The most valuable thing a journalist has are their contacts. They are our stock in trade. It was a classic campaign of constructive dismissal. He knew what he was doing. A different member of staff became thinner and thinner and cried every day they worked for Wootton, who said they destroyed them physically and mentally. Another editorial worker said there were months and months of real bullying, mind games, and heavy emails, often late at night, so bad they ruined your sleep. Just as News UK started asking questions last night about Wootton's conduct there, bringing in external legal counsel to oversee a human resources investigation, Byline Times can reveal that it's not the first time Wootton's relationship with his HR department has been questioned. So there is stuff going back a few years about that. Narcissist, yeah, exactly. He is the textbook classic narcissist, Wootton. I mean, you should be able to see it, I mean, obviously, he's made it a point to reinvent his image, right? By going on this GBU's show, And I'm sure that was all by design, right? I'm sure because people were been looking into this stuff and investigating this, like they said 3 years ago. So I think this was all by design to gradually get Dan out of the tabloid world, that kind of murky showbiz tabloid world, and to be more kind of serious and be more political. To kind of I don't want to say rehabilitate his image, but to kind of get him away from all this stuff and the with the Sun, because there was just too much there that was eventually going to get revealed. Skeletons were going to come out of the closet. But of course, to a lot of people that work for GBUs, yeah, they might, Dan might be very nice to them. He might be very kind to them, but they haven't seen Dan before that, when he was at the Sun, treating people like shit, making their lives hell, But people are smart though. People know as they can get on, they can know kind of change up their ways, That's all kind of part of the game, isn't it? But so I continue. So it says in October 2018, Private Eye reported on emissions about Wootton without naming him regarding an investigation into the subject of bullying complaints. So it's Private Eye. The owner was the guy Hislop that does the "Have I Got Used for You" subject to bullying complaints. So the magazine told how a tired and emotional former head of HR, Rachel Martin, who, like Wootton, is from New Zealand, had told a group of journalists drinking in a pub by News UK's central London headquarters that she had tried to protect Wootton during a probe she was overseeing into his conduct. That's the thing with HR. It's all bullshit, right? Nothing very rarely happens if you go with HR with a problem complaining about someone or something. Very rarely does anything happen. Private Eye reported how the Sun's journalist questioned Martin's impartiality, given she was out. She was seen enjoying Wootton's hospitality in the official Use UK executive box at the O2 while her investigation into his behaviour was ongoing. Gee. So they're all buddies, right? Byline Times has learned that one of his son's six, on legal advice, went above Rachel Martin with her complaint in 2018. As a result, Use UK was obliged to use HR professionals to attach to a sister company to oversee an investigation leading to a large settlement. Martin left the company and went back to New Zealand soon after. So when you're not doing your job right, look what happens. Karma. A source to The Sun said Dan got so many perks and so much access, it was easy for him to ingratiate himself. Yeah, exactly. That's what he's all about, is it? He made sure Rachel Martin was like his best mate. I bet. I bet he did. And so it goes on. Demands for another promotion. The list of complaints about Wootton did not stop Use UK from promoting him and giving him pay rises and ever more prominent positions at the newspaper, but he had a decisive falling out with current editor Victoria Wootton. In February 2020, on her first day on the role, Wootton left Wootton furious by demanding she promote him, prompting a cute move by the U editor, who reached out to Wootton's best remaining royal contact and placed him on a special retainer, ensuring that they dealt exclusively with her. A source said this was the beginning of the end for Dan at the Sun. He didn't like having the same move pulled on him that he had done to so many contacts of other people. Again, karma, huh? Karma. Less than a year later, Wootton left Use UK for his current position at GBUs. So that's maybe part of it, right? He left because he didn't like being in control, right? Over the years, Wootton has used his Twitter account to criticize others accused of bullying. There was obviously the whole Philip Schofield things. He said stuff about Harvey Weinstein, and and then he's also used his platform to regularly discuss the use of NDAs and their legal validity in the private lives of a number of celebrities, including TV personalities Ant McPartlin and Paul Hollywood, despite the Sun being six being subjected to them. Byline Times contacted representatives for Dan Wootton, but his solicitors declined to comment. This newspaper will, of course, update this article with any comment on the record. And that's that. And I believe Byline Times they were supposed to post part 3 today, but there's been a bit of a delay. So they tweeted, update on our next Media 2. So it's almost like a play on Me Too, but it's Media 2. Media 2 Dan Wootton story. There have been some illicit attempts to access our work by unknown third parties. We're conducting a full security review with our IT consultants. This may delay our next story. And they said security update number 2. So this is pretty strong here. There was a team member who we believed was hacked, had blood smeared over the windscreen of his car this morning. This morning. This may very well be a coincidence, but rest assured both incidents have been reported to the police. So, wow. I mean, now, first off, again, could be not related to any of this stuff with Wootton. Could be just a coincidence. That's pretty heavy, though, to have blood smeared over the windscreen. I don't know if that's something, though, they would be, could they have posted a photograph on that, or is it best, obviously, not to do that if you're going to go right to the police with that? But that's pretty strong, though. But with all this stuff, though, that's going on, Dan Wootton's threatening to sue the Byline, or he's going to sue the Byline Times. And it says here on democracyfree.org, stop Dan Wootton being cancelled by far left online smears. So you could donate money, guys, to help pay for Dan Wootton's legal fees, but I don't think it's gone anywhere yet, really. So far, let me just see, update it one more time. £14,667 of £150,000 goal. And it starts off by saying, a hard left blog is on a deranged campaign of harassment designed to destroy me financially, mentally, and professionally. but with your help, they will not succeed. Byline Times has eschewed all journalistic, legal, and moral practices to publish a series of defamatory and untrue claims as part of a highly politicized witch hunt designed to cancel and deplatform me. Byline have already come for the likes of Free Speech Union, the Legatum Institute, GBUs, and Douglas Murray, who received substantial damages for their lies. Now they and others want to silence me. I'm advised that I have a good case for legal action, and Byline is already on my notice of my legal complaint. But he needs our help, right? To fight the false allegations and innuendo that has been spouted on social media to cancel someone with political views that challenge the orthodoxy. It goes on, and just need to take a moment because, like, that's something else. Though 150 grand, though, you can't. It's good. You're always good at trolling, Cara. Yeah. Well, funnily enough, though, Byline Times now, though, they have something that you can donate money to them. They're not looking for that much, though. Well, compared to Dan, they're looking for £32,500. And I can continue getting into the stuff with, I think the Dan Wootton thing, but I think by looking at this, Byline Times have got a better chance than reaching their goal, and they probably will very soon. Their crowdfunder. But again, when you get all these things about people asking others for money to donate, it's a little bit of a red flag. So that's personally, I have to admit, both sides, it's a little bit of a red flag there. But just one moment now. Okay, where was I at? Yeah, absolutely, Cara. Yeah, I know. But Dan has high friends in high places. You mean to tell me that he can't find people that would help him with his legal bills? It's like, come on. But maybe he's burned every bridge now, you know? And yeah, but so Dan's going on trying to say, okay, so the lineup of people which Byline and other biased sources appear to be relying on for their information include a convicted phone hacker, an abusive ex-boyfriend turned hard left campaigner who admitted in writing to me that he's a psychopath and threatened to slit my throat, a recently released violent criminal who has previously blackmailed me, and a convicted extortionist I have never met who was sent to jail for many years after being described by a judge as a compulsive danger to the public. So he's saying someone's a convicted phone hacker, abusive ex-boyfriend, threatened to slit his throat, recently released violent criminal, and a convicted extortionist. So he's trying to say all these people are liars and they're bullshitters and they're bad people. And yeah, so that's the main part of that. But no, I won't be giving a penny. Well, I won't be giving a penny to anybody. I won't be giving a penny to Byline Times. I won't be giving a penny to Dan Wootton. But I mean, definitely. I mean, Dan could find some money somewhere for when it comes to legal fees, and him. Where do you start? I mean, he really is something else. Is he? He really is a piece of work. Yeah. he would never do that though because Dan needs other people. He needs that people there to around him, shielding him, protecting him. He could never do it alone. It's just a typical kind of well, somebody who's a bit of a coward who does that, right? Yeah, you'd think so, right? I mean, not that he's like super, super rich, but he's probably got enough. Yeah, I know, I know. I'm kind of somewhat surprised Dan Wootton hasn't played the homophobic card though. I thought maybe that was a card he could have played, but maybe give it time though. Give it time, he might. It takes it out of you reading all the stuff about Dan Wootton. Yeah, yeah, I shouldn't, Cara. I know. He's just such a piece of work, is he? And the thing about that, like when there was the allegations about, okay, there was the stuff there about Philip Schofield, right? And then he's kind of stayed on TV. Was it like 4 or 5 days, whatever? Then he took a time off, and then there was the stuff there with his brother Timothy. But they're just like they've been just trying to bury their head in the sand. The GBU's people, and they're all right away trying to say that oh Dan's innocent, he's my friend, I stand by him no matter what. And it's just like, come on, guys, like because this is your channel that's going to be at stake here if it's found out that it's guilty. He's guilty, because Dan is more or less seen as the front man, right? He is seen as the front man of GBUs. So it's certain people's their reputations and their even potentially, their jobs could be at risk. So I would be very careful there. I'd be like, I would either, you don't have to condemn him, if he's been good to you in the past, been like a mate, but either just shut up or actually do some proper critical thinking. But but I'm always open to hearing what other people have to say, open debates. I like ex-army Paz. He has a different take on this. There's Penny Bunny, she has her own take. She doesn't believe the stuff, and which is all fine. I'm open to hearing different people their views on this. And others, if you're there in the chat, feel free leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you agree, you disagree, what your thoughts are on this whole thing. Let me know. Oh, he's there. There's the boy, Julio Cass. He's there. Oh, all right, mate. So we've really been getting into this stuff, Julio Cass, about Dan Wootton. So you've dealt with him personally before. Give me your take on all of this stuff, the allegations. What do you think? No, I see what you're saying, Astro Chimp, and I agree with you 100%, right? No one's perfect, right? Um, Nobody in this world's clean, right? Everybody's got, I don't know, no, say everybody's got like skeletons in their closet, but most people, a lot of people who you might think are good, and a lot of people see them that way. That's how everybody kind of perceives them. They've stuff that may be done behind closed doors in private. It can be pretty bad, pretty sketchy. It's just, yeah. A lot of people going back to stuff that Dan said back in the day of the sun. So funny coming from a gay guy, right? But he said this is what he had in 2016. Don't know if you get away with this now, right? He says it's 2016 and has rated the cleavage of some of the actresses at the Oscars. They called it the Titsy Index. Classic, eh? But But yeah, Danny Boy's grifting though, eh? He's a grifter. He's many things, but grifter definitely one of them. Huh. I suspect Dan DW is a series side he keeps well hidden. My interactions with him were never good. I didn't even like being near him. He is borderline narcissistic. Right. Yeah. Uh, well, yeah. Private Eyes, Astral. I'm not really a fan of his lot. I'm really never particularly liked him all that much. But and from your experience of other co-workers, Julio Cass, could you see that though? That he made people's lives miserable. That people would be tearing their hair out, or people would be feeling suicidal. Did you see that personally, or you didn't see it that actually at the time? But looking back now, you could see how you like you could be like, yeah, yeah, I totally I get it now, kind of thing. Worse to others than he was to you. Right, right. I see. Yeah, yeah. Just wonder though if that'll be that though. You'll just hear there'll be is it 6 people now, 7 people about the bullying. I just wonder would there be any more people coming out? Anything other anything other anything else that's really bad. But Mhm. Wow. Yeah. And what was Dan like? I mean, was Dan kind of more the guy to like he used performance appraisals if people didn't play their role, he would try and belittle them? Yeah. Was Dan the kind of guy that would scream at you, or was he just more a bit kind of smug and kind of condescending, like passive aggressive type? Du- 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 du. Turn it in a blink of an eye. Any snaps of anger were quite sure. Right, right. Yeah. I just think right, yeah. Well, I've seen that with real and like ruthless bosses. It's when they're silent. It's when they say nothing. That's what can be really that can be quite scary, can't it? That can I've had moments like that with certain bosses, old bosses, and yeah, I know what you mean. Um, but the thing is, though, he's very smart though, because this is what I was saying, Julio Castro. I think he knew this stuff. This was coming. This day would come. You know, Nana Kua now on bloody GBUs. What a hack she is. Like, get lost. But I think he knew this day was coming, and I think that's why he made it. He was going to get out of there, the tabloid world, and then GBUs when that came up, that was the perfect opportunity for him to start trying to change his image a bit. You know, and of course, yeah, if he goes, all the people, of all the people at GBUs that have worked with him, they will all say what a great guy is because he's probably has been all nice to their face, and he hasn't been a dick to anybody. Maybe a little bit low key to people low in the totem pole, people who we don't know, junior staffer type people, but for the most part, for the other big presenters, people have a name. I'm sure he's super nice to these people. Right, all right. Pizza meal with him and the team. Right, right. But were these things always a little bit uncomfortable? Were they, Julia Cass? A bit forced? Were they? Um, Yeah, he just doesn't sound like a good person, though, does he? But a lot of people are all coming out to his age, though. I mean, people are trying to say that they're designed to destroy him financially. It's like I don't think that has anything to do with it, really, right? I mean, people maybe it's justice like a criminal thing, but I don't think he makes that point to say, "Oh, it's financial." The very first thing of that to say financial. It's like he knows what he's doing when he does that. Very few people are talented like it is about this on Twitter as well. You've got like Sonia Polton and a couple of others, It's actual the more the women that are talented like it is than the guys. But because Sonia Polton said in regards to this potential lawsuit is that saying, well, to people, you're wanting to raise money for Wootton against an independent publication, exercising not only their right to free speech, but 3 years of investigations. Sounds legit. Just 1 minute. Sorry, guys. Certain things never cease to amaze me, though. I'll say that much. That's a valid point. What you're saying, Astral, about people are controlled, they end up being compromised. He was the most junior there. He asked me why you're like I hadn't the right to be there. I ate my pizza, didn't say much of the buzz session. There were actually some lovely people there. Dan Wooten and one woman were horrible. I wanted to move into travel and he blocked it. He was good friends with Lisa Minot. Right. When you were there, Julio Cass, would that have been the same time that Rebecca Brooks was there? The woman with the whole thing with the phone hacking? Because I think is she married or she was married to Ross Kemp, right? Don't know if she's anymore though, but out of 2014, right? And honestly, like Joe cast cards on table when it comes to Rebecca Brooks. Do you think she just got off lately? You think she was really guilty, right? Guilty as sin. Kitty Cara. Wow. We might never hear about that though, Cara. Well, not for a good. I mean, what Cliff Richard, what is 83 now? Is he? He's still probably got a good 5 or so years left, though. I'll tell you. She knew more than she let on. She was very well connected, right? So I suppose she might have got off lightly. Was it like that kind of plausible deniability thing? Do you think that's how she got off in the end and got not guilty and declared not guilty in court? Well, Astro, what's your thoughts on Dan Wootton overall? You the right people. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, exactly what I was thinking. Right. So there's about. I'm still wondering though, will more come out though? I'm still thinking like with this Philip Schofield stuff, will we hear more about? Will there be something more about this? Will there be a link there with Dan Wooten? There was the stuff there with him and the boss Victoria Newton, but he wasn't happy that all of a sudden now she had much more control, I guess, and I suppose overall control, power, authority than he did. So it's a tough one though. I mean, maybe I don't think Dan would go in full on attack with Schofield though. Um, if he was really in on the know about the whole thing, and like I don't know, maybe that would have been more if his boss at the time was dealing with that. And then if they had a falling out because he wasn't happy that now all of a sudden though she's got the best contact for the royal family, and he probably wouldn't have been in on the know if this was just a few days after her being at the job. He might have not been on the know in on the know with the whole thing that went on with the agreement for doing the interview with them in Schofield, the day after he came out on This Morning. So, but uh, well, people were calling the Hugh Edwards thing the you Jimmy Savile thing, but I thought that was a bit strong to say that. And look at it now, that story is totally dead, right? All the Hugh Edwards stuff there. It is an odd one, isn't it? The story is just totally dead, though. You don't hear anything about it. It kind of started out being real critical of him, and then the narrative kind of changed. Then all of a sudden, you hear all these people are coming out the woodwork, but talking about how they feel sorry for him, and all these people trying to defend him, lying about his mental health issues. I wouldn't say he's lying, Julio Cass, but he's definitely using it as an excuse, though. Like, I mean, he was talking about he had suffered depression before, because that's very much the end. Like, again, I don't want to like knock people, right? But that's very much a thing to talk about how the mental health and you suffer from depression. That is very real. I don't doubt that. I come from a like my mom and my grandmother had bipolar, right? They experienced the lows quite badly, especially my grandmother was in hospital a lot to the point where she couldn't look after my mom and three other children. They had, my aunties and uncles. But I've experienced more of the ups in life. I've probably picked up a bit of that on my family's side, my mom's side. I experienced probably the highs much more than the lows to the point where I could never say really I suffer from depression. Like I have clinical depression or whatever, or I've touched on mental health and rap songs before, but for me to say I suffer depression, that's a tough one because to me, I don't know. In my own opinion, and it's maybe wrong, maybe that to me is like admitting defeat, but I don't know. But I'm rambling on though. But I think the point is, I wouldn't discredit somebody from saying they suffer from depression. Um, and I don't. It's hard for me to discredit. I don't want to go there when I'm discrediting people when it comes to having mental health problems. But in certain cases, though, it's just hard to not overlook it and realize how blatant it is. And this seems pretty blatant that this mental health card was being played by Hugh Edwards. That's how I see it. Um, as soon as it came out, this stuff, the allegations about a BBC presenter, that could have just triggered something in him right away that boom, it was just too much. He might have just straight up had a breakdown or on the verge of having one, we don't know. But yeah, so I was wanting to touch on that film, The Sound of Freedom. So this Sound of Freedom film has been it's generated a lot of buzz and it's got a lot of people talking. And there is some I don't know if it'd be you're right to say controversy, but there is a lot of people on the left though that have been quick to dismiss this. A lot of these left wing media websites have been calling it, like a far right wing conspiracy theory. They call it a QAnon. Is that how I said it? QAnon conspiracy theory. And I don't know. I mean, how all of a sudden, when you're right wing, sorry, when you're against human trafficking, child trafficking, it's far right. Like the left have really lost their mind on this. But this is what's happening now. All this controversy with the Sound of Freedom film that's already grossed, I think, over 2 weeks about 100 million in the box office in America. And I saw the trailer for it the other night, and from so far it looked quite good. I It's probably a film that if it does come to UK, I believe it's going to come next month. I'll check it out. I'll go and see it. Um, and yeah, I mean it's there's certain theories online though. A lot of people are saying that this is all kind of done. People almost like calling it like a psyop, and it's kind of and these guys, Tim Ballard, there's accusations about him that there's stuff about him that there's that he apparently said he wants kids to be microchipped and stuff like that, and but I don't know. There's certain theories out there about people saying that it's that it's not all that appears to be, and there's maybe an agenda there to with all this fear to, I guess, maybe have a lot of fear mongering and make out like when it comes to child trafficking that the numbers are more than what they are. That's what some people are saying. But I think overall, though, the film, interesting film from going from the trailer that I saw, and it was a film that they were filming it back in 5-6 years ago. But I think it's probably one film though. I'd make it a point though to go out of my way and see what I think. And but yeah, I don't know if any of you guys have heard anything about the Sound of Freedom film. See what you think, or if you've heard anything about theories, conspiracy theories about the guys, because obviously people say stuff about the Jim is it Jim Caviezel, the actor, he had also played Jesus in Passion of the Christ. There's photos there of him doing that, and people are saying, "Well, he's not good. He's fake. He's this. He's that." But I don't know what. Let me know what you think, guys. Leave a comment on that. Shawnee, hi Shawnee. Sometimes you can feel down, but it's not clinical depression. I'd imagine in a crisis like Hugh Edwards, we would all want to go away somewhere. Yeah, probably. Yeah, no doubt. And they said it would be the foreseeable future as well. That could be a while, you know. Mm. Yeah, the Sound of Freedom, Shawnee, is it's about a guy, Tim Ballard, who was a government agent, and he's on a mission to rescue children from the sex traffickers in Colombia. And it's a long story, but there's all this stuff about these kids that get lured in. This, these scam things about, all these modeling people come and they've got these contracts for them. And then the father goes, takes the kids to this, it'll be audition or whatever, a photo shoot. He returns to pick the children up, and guess what? They're gone. And they're sold to be used as sex slaves. So this is pretty strong, full on, serious stuff right here. Um, It is, I suppose you could say, kind of a Christian film. I believe the Tim Ballard character, he's a Mormon, and one of the lines in the film that's quite is caught on a bit about this is that they say God's children are not for sale. That's one of the lines, and but it looks very interesting though, and it is a film. I don't go out my way to see many films these days, but I want to see this film. I'd really like to see what it's like. Paul, hi Paul, London Reels channel. I have to check that out. Is that when you say London Real, but Brian Rose, that guy, Brian Rose? Oppenheimer is supposed to be a great film. Is that another one, Shawnee? That Oppenheimer is that people call that like a far right conspiracy theory as well, or people writing that off? Yeah, I've heard. I mean, that's had a lot of buzz as well. That Oppenheimer film also, uh, directed by Christopher Nolan, hmm, Robert Downey Jr., Matt Damon. Hmm. Paz. I found Paz on Twitter. Ex Army Paz followed me. Paz is the top guy. He sometimes checks in on these live streams I do. Film about the guy who invented the hydrogen bomb and then he turned against nuclear weapons. All right. So maybe one I'll make it a point to check out that one as well. It says here that Donald Trump announces he will institute the death penalty for child traffickers after screening The Sound of Freedom. Wow. And this includes women. And someone says, well, now you can expect the media to become advocates for child trafficking. Huh, shit. Penny Bunny. All right, yeah. I probably, to be honest with you, I'm probably the opposite Julio Cass. I watch more Pads videos than I do Penny Bunny ones. There were trays piled high with candy and 8 top hookers, but he declined because he knew the score. Right. And is this guy Astro you're talking about in like the showbiz celebrity world, or just more like a rich rolling in people's circles with people with a lot of money, or both? Hi, Paul. Yeah, I've heard about stuff involving Oprah. Yes, I've heard about. Is it that guy called John the Baptist that was like her spiritual mentor, and he was caught up in that? What was the guy again? Oprah, John. Was it John the Baptist they called him? He was also like Pally with Naomi Campbell. Um, what was the guy's name? Oprah. Spiritual- It was John of God. He was called. He received a 99-year sentence. Right. This is Oprah, right? Oh, everybody loves Oprah, right? Oprah's such a lovely person, right? Her buddy John of God is a convicted rapist and child trafficker. Oprah chooses her friends wisely, huh? Weinstein first, Harvey Weinstein, then this John of God guy, former spiritual healer. It's weird, Astral. I don't know if you're a golf guy, Astral. The golf going on right now, but there was the guy the Aberdonian guy that won the golf in 1999, Paul Laurie, and he was a former MI6 agent. And I thought to myself, that's quite weird to go from that to being a top golf player. And it was about random, but I just found it weird, like the link of like very few people I would know that would be in the MI5 or MI6 or whatever. Oh, yeah, you're talking about Philip Schofield here, Astro, right? Plastic surgeon, right? All right. That wasn't the guy that did Kanye's mom's thing that went wrong, right? Led to her death, did it? Was it Donda, right? That's not him though, is it? But this guy, the John of God, Joa, whatever, Oprah's friend, speaking about how it says here one activist whose tireless investigations led to his arrest has spoken with women from Europe, USA, Australia who admitted to purchasing Brazilian babies for as much as 50 grand. The harrowing accounts underscore the extent of the criminal network that John of God was involved in and the global impact of his atrocities. News has sent shockwaves. And it's funny how we barely hear a thing about this, right? We never even heard a thing about it, right? It sent shockwaves through communities worldwide, including prominent figures who previously expressed admiration for him. That was Bill Clinton, Shirley MacLaine, Naomi Campbell, former Brazilian President Luiz Lula da Silva. They'd all been associated with him. So 99 years in prison. Wow. Rape, abuse, involvement in baby trafficking operation. Killed 2 people. Oh, gee. I think well, the thing about that Astral, it was an open secret in the industry for years, right? Julia Cast one was called Kay Cragen. Look her name up, see what it says there. Kay Cragen. Woman dies having plastic surgery meant as surprise. Wanted her facelift to be a surprise for her husband. Jeez, travel to New York to get a facelift. God, my good oh God. Just wonder whatever happened about the thing with Donda, with her plastic surgery. Kanye's mother, just to be clear. People wondering who Donda is. That Penny Bunny, though, did anything come out of that stuff with Simon Schofield, right? He threatened her with a cease and desist, right? Did she have an update on that, or I guess she's just going to stop posting stuff about Schofield for now, though, right? Can't really see much about his mum. I'm just looking at Kanye's Wikipedia, but I can't really while we're going through all of it right now. But hmm. So let's see. Anything? Just seeing if there's any other updates on Dan Wootton or anything. Uh, Someone's saying here that he won't sue Byline Times. Well, you know what? It could just be a one big scam. This whole thing about this crowdfunder thing. But I'm not even going to give money to buddy. I'm not even going to give money to But Paul, yeah, Paul, is that Lorna Slater, right? Paul, is that the person that's always trolling on my page, like on my shorts videos, leaving comments, right? I always get like a Lorna Slater who like disagrees with me. Is that her? All these lefty woke people, they always look a certain way, do they? Do the Paul? And I just looked up her. But it's funny you say that though, Paul. I've had a Lorna Slater comment on my videos. I'm pretty sure it was a Lorna Slater. That could be her for all you know. Formed a partnership, the S&P. Surprise, surprise. All the woke lefties got to stick in with one another, right? But it's funny, Carol, he said that, right? But that's, it's funny that though, because I'm pretty certain Lorna Slater comments on my stuff, right? I have to look back and see. That name rings a bell. Oh, no, wait a minute. It's a Jane Slater, right? Not a Lorna Slater, I'm sorry. Is that Lorna Slater though, Paul? Is she somebody one of these people that's always chatting shit on Twitter and gets triggered over things people say and things that people on the right say? Or hi, John. Is Jane Slater? Is that honestly her sister? I don't know. I well, I don't think these people would be quite. Where's the comment that Jane Slater left? It's here somewhere. Uh, because yeah, well, no, it's because I posted something here. It said, "Ask." This was before the Guardian, just before the Guardian reported on the allegations. Right on it was Tuesday, was it? And I said, ask yourself why the mainstream media are reporting on the Dan Wootton allegations before you write it off as a left wing conspiracy theory. And then Jane Slater said, "Oh, because there is no proof and could be sued like Cliff Richard was." Well, I mean, there seems to be a bit more proof, you know. I mean, the Byline Times are reporting all the stuff to do with NDAs being signed and all this, so there was some proof to some of it, at least. Paul, I Paul J. Yes, she took a private boat to the Scottish Isles with taxpayers' money, then got a limousine from Aberdeen to Edinburgh again at the expense of the Scottish taxpayer. Hmm. Standard, though. It's standard, eh, Paul? Standard. Limousine. Bloody hell. Oh, you like your porridge, you like cast. I remember that. So John, what's your thoughts on all this stuff with Dan Wootton, the Dan Wootton scandal? What do you think? Nana Akua, my brilliant colleague Dan Wootton is crowdfunding in preparation for the legal fight of his life. Oh me. He's well protected. He's got the right type of buddies that'll protect him. It's like, yeah. So I just checked Daily Mail. There's nothing big, no big headlines, nothing there. Surprisingly, they're not. Unsurprisingly, really though, they're not reporting anything on the Dan Wootton stuff. Well, yeah, Dan Wootton doesn't need to get crowdfunding, doesn't he? I'm sure he's made enough of money, enough dough. But yeah, he's not really a good journalist now. It's just all the what does he do when he's not slagging off Harry and Meghan? Like, what does he actually do? Bill Getty. Bill Getty. I heard earlier Tony Bennett passed away. Can't claim to be a big Bennett fan, but from what I'd heard, he was good singer, great voice. Imagine like Lady Gaga will be very upset. She considered him to be a good friend, didn't she? Had worked collaborated with him. Bill Getty. I didn't really the View co-creator. Right. So a long was this a long illness, was it? Or is this unexpected? Passed away suddenly. Coronary related factors. Wife, two daughters. This is not good. So rest in peace to Bill Getty. Didn't know him, but so he's an American television producer, co-creator of The View. I suppose that's like the American version of Loose Women, right? I don't know what started first, The View or Loose Women here, or but it's similar types of shows, though, right? You say sells kids, Astro. You're speaking about Oprah, right? You like your food, huh, Julia Cass? Like your jacket potatoes, right? Hmm. So people are saying about Oppenheimer. They said, I'm just reading this on Twitter. Someone said, masterclass in storytelling, orchestrated by Christopher Nolan at his very best. Cillian Murphy's portrayal of Oppenheimer was nothing short of mesmerizing. Screenplay is brilliant, nothing short of best picture. Said never saw Robert Downey Jr. like this phenomenal performance. So many emotions, but it's executed perfectly. It won't be wrong to say that this is his best performance till date. Climax of Oppenheimer will be remembered, and he is the man. So it's getting good reviews, right? Yes, Julio Cat. Yes, yes. It's. I got the fresh look, I guess, or tried to. The dudes get now very super short at the back and the sides, right? Yeah, I just thought I'd get something a little bit different. You guys and your food, right? Pineapple rings, brushed with honey, brown sugar, put in the air fryer. I must say though, and I don't know how the hell this is a controversial thing to say, but I do take pineapple on pizza though. Seems to be a big thing about pineapple on pizza is wrong, it's bad. Some might say it's disgusting, but no, I'm a pineapple on pizza guy. Not afraid to say it. Kylian Mbappe has been put up for sale. Oh me. The guy that's always whinging who makes 80 million a year, he's been put up for sale by Paris Saint Germain. I suppose the only thing it comes down to with these guys, it's the competition, right? That the bloody French league, even if you are making 80 million a year, it isn't the same as if you're in the Spanish league or in the Premier League or Serie A even. But crazy though. That you don't like pineapple and pizza, or I can take ham and pineapple and pizza. I love it. Yeah, it's fine. Hawaiian all the time. My I get buddy Mary Black trending guys on my Twitter. Mary Black. Rainbow on the Twitter name, no surprise. MP for Paisley and Renfrewshire. What is she, Labour, SNP? I couldn't really give a shit, like, but oh, is this the one that's 28 years old, right? Oh, me. Pineapple. Gee. I do have a certain way how I pronounce things sometimes, Cara. I do. I get that from my dad. It's a bad habit. He can pronounce things a little wrong sometimes as well. Right, right. Okay. I'm gonna start to wrap this up soon, guys, but any comments and ever questions, just leave them in the chat. But I'm gonna start to wrap this up just shortly. James Alafente. I think I know that name. I'm sick of seeing tweets from the powers posting fawning stuff about Meghan Markle. Yeah, me too. I look up that name, Paul, and I can't find anything. That's weird. Unless is this in relation to Pizzagate? Is it, Paul? Nicola Sturgeon to Barack Obama. Good God. No, I'm not saying it, Cara. Once was enough. Yeah, but everybody's raving about this bloody politician that's like 25. He just looks like a young kid, right? Are all like the people on the left trying to say like he's a pin up and he's like so good looking and he's so handsome. He just looks like a wee kid though, right? But the left are loving him, right? They're raving about him, right? They're gonna try and say that he's like he looks like compare him like looks wise to like a Brad Pitt, huh? Or a Tom Cruise, right? Yeah, I know it's the whole bullshit heat wave thing, or isn't it, John, about climate change and all that? It's all bullshit. And they said it. They've said it, John, that they said that this whole climate thing is going to be the next scamdemic. That's what it's going to be, you know. Yeah, but Mari back. I actually have. She looks. Yeah, she looks familiar now. Just looking at her now. Yeah, they're all jokes, though, are they? Just fancy ourselves as a bit of a working class revolutionary, does she, Mary Black? Getting to that point now, a lot of these politicians now you see are younger than buddy me. Lets me know I'm getting on a bit in age, eh? 32, like fuck. All right. I haven't fully gone down that whole Pizzagate thing, Paul. I'm a little bit not fully sold on that stuff. Um, maybe there's some truth to some of it. I don't know. I was never really too sure about the whole Pizzagate theory though. But to keep Cara happy, I'll say it last one time. I do take pineapple on pizza, or did I say pineapple on pizza? All right, I'm going to wrap this up though, guys. It's been another really good live stream. I'll plan probably doing another one Sunday evening. I'll definitely try and do one around Sunday evening. So hopefully you guys can join it then. I'll maybe try and do it around maybe 8, half 8. I say that it probably ends up being a bit later, but I'll try and keep it early though. But I'm going to wrap this one up for tonight. So thanks very much, guys. Appreciate me joining me on this live stream again. And as I say, hopefully I'll do another one. I'll do one this Sunday evening. But thanks very much for joining me tonight, guys. Thanks. See ya.